Idolization is at the core of false belief and false promises. We live in an unprecedented time of fame and notoriety. Anybody could be famous. Anybody can have some type of influence. Is that good or is that bad? We're here to find out on the Triple Take. I'm Frank.
I'm Manny.
I'm Joseph.
I think, like I was saying in the intro, it peaks on the form of idolization. The amount of times I've seen people watch a TikTok about somebody say something that they have no knowledge on that subject and they just believe what they say, it's actually crazy. The type of influence that these people may have on anybody in general that's too lazy to do their own research or have their own opinion on something can be pretty devastating in terms of creating information silos where they are only exposed to the same idea and same opinion, so they think it's true, even though it's only an opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's like saying opposed to the internet and its algorithms giving you whatever you like seeing. When you're stuck focusing on a celebrity or an idol or whoever you put your faith in, that's your own personal algorithm that you're just locking in for yourself. You're like, you know what? I agree with this person. This person I praise. You know what? Let me just lock in. Whatever they say, I'm gonna take it to heart type of deal. Opposed to just opening your mind. There's a lot of those type of people. There's too many. It's an army, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it starts with media and presentation. And if they're put into a higher spotlight, they're going to have some type of influence on the new generation and the present generation. Maybe not the past generation, but they hold themselves to such a degree that it's almost a form of worship and very, very, very detrimental to decision-making and your own future. Because you can't idolize someone that followed a course that you have no idea where it started. You have no idea what their beliefs are and what they carry with them. You could say that you want to follow Celebrity A. Celebrity A has their own beliefs, and those beliefs, you have no idea what type of path they're following. But yet you subscribe to this belief that this is the path that you should follow because you love this person and you idolize this person. That's why I think Frank's saying idolization, it's not far from it. It's very close to it because it becomes an obsession.
It is that. It is that.
It becomes an obsession. And obsessions only lead to disaster when you don't have your own opinions, your own distinctions. You don't do your own research. And we're not trying to say all celebrity influence is bad. Not true. But we're trying to focus in on the fact that be careful who you follow. And be careful what you follow. Their influence ranges because, how Joseph said, the algorithm, the media, presentation. It's as simple as something of liking movies. We've talked about that before. We love actors and actresses. We love their movies, but we don't follow them like that. That's crazy work.
I definitely don't.
Don't lose yourself in that. You know what I'm saying? Having a role model could be dangerous. Looking up to somebody, not knowing their full story is a causality for negativity.
So this is the way I look at it. To me, it is idolization. Not everybody goes that far, but there's a lot of people that do. Like when you talk about, man, I don't even want to name specific groups of people because that's how I just don't want to deal with those groups of people. I know we're not that big enough to them, but they'll dig it up in the future eventually. There's certain types of people that are subscribed to being part of a certain person's group of fans. Those people are borderline dangerous individuals. If you even disagree with the person that they follow, it's hell on earth. Hell on the internet. Twitter fingers going crazy. Characters flying, right? Characters is flying past. And that's where I'm like, it gets dangerous. And like Manny said, it's not always bad influence, it's good influence. Marketing is a very powerful tool. It can lead to ruin or to something great. There's a specific person that I follow on Instagram where he goes around and he just builds houses for people in other countries that don't have houses. Even though I don't know his beliefs or anything about him, I can look at the act and be like, hey, that makes me want to do something good for somebody. There's certain things you're just like, okay, you don't need to know everything about that person. But when you're at the point where you're just like, I'm going to believe everything they say, that's when you're just like, okay, then you need to know everything about that person if that's the decision you're going to make. But I don't think you should ever do that because people are inherently broken individuals, whereas they are not perfect. So there's going to be something about them that's not so good that you're not going to like, right? I mean, I've seen so many people defend things. I'm just like, bro, that person, that was a bad thing they did, huh? But you got to look at all the side. Bruh, come on now.
So
Come
at
on
that
now.
point,
There's only so many times you could defend Kanye, brother. There's only so many times.
At that point,
It's only so many times, bro.
another way to kind of condense what Frank just said, how people look up to people in such
Yep.
a way and they have their following, it sort of resembles that of a cult and that kind of behavior. Because you're so committed, you're so devoted that you get to the concept of obsession. And obsession isn't necessarily always a bad thing. It has its niche moment if it's self-aware. And I'm going to use Kobe Bryant as an example. The man was obsessed with his goal. And he committed towards it, but he was self-aware about it. And I'm mad this is going to kind of rhyme, but obsession, people misinterpret as progression. And really, more often than not, it's just regression. And at that point, looking at the concept of persuasion,
Who's the rapper here?
me. Looking at the concept of persuasion, making use of celebrities or influencers or anyone that's in any particular spotlight. You're trying to cater to a person's ethos, being like, hey, yeah, I respect that person, or at least if they're big enough or you know their face. And the concept of marketing, you can do whatever. That's how you get your trendsetters. Or, if it happens to be popular, you're just trying to gear the ocean of people, the masses, in that direction. Where a good amount of people that get obsessed with their idols and go off the concept of idolization, they mistake that ethos of catering towards someone famous with their pathos. They emotionally invest themselves with the individual. And that happens so easily that you could really manipulate,
Yep.
this is the real word, whole hordes of people to whatever you
Marketing
need.
it.
And it's scary. It's cool, but it's scary.
Look, I understand that sometimes celebrities don't realize their impact on the world, and we're not trying to downplay the fact that there are certain celebrities out there that do charitable work. There are some out there that do great things. They represent a lot of good things out there in the world. But we're telling as a community, just because they do all these good things, just because you like them in movie A, movie B, you like them in TV show A and B, their word is not gospel. That is not the way that we should look at it. We should have our own beliefs. We should do our own research. We should be influenced by good behavior or influenced by the right people. But when you lean towards that pathos side, you tend to sway away from yourself. And in a way, I think it's losing yourself. Shout out Eminem.
The real rapper.
It is losing yourself because you become a person that you can't even recognize anymore because you're following a certain individual, a person that is a celebrity or an influencer or a YouTuber, whatever you deem to.
Become a puppet,
Yeah,
just like them.
even
That's scary.
politicians. We see it nowadays in the world. You become a different person, you follow this person's thing, and then later down the line, you may have those types of regrets of why did I follow this without reason? I followed it blindly.
Yeah,
I
we go.
didn't.
Blind
And
leading the blind.
yeah. And Frank said blind leading the blind, but we have seen in previous things, these are people that know what they're doing and know what they're doing to people, and they still use their influence because they know these people are blind. But again, I will 100% hold the accountability to the other person. It's up to you, the individual, to have your own beliefs, to have your own standards, to know right from wrong. We put a lot of emphasis on the celebrities, but there's accountability on the other hand.
Yeah.
It's accountability
I was
on
about
the
to get there.
fan, the people. You're not idiots. If you want to be an idiot, fine by me. But we're not idiots. We know right from wrong. We know what shouldn't be followed. We know what we're doing. Don't lie to me and say, I didn't know what I was doing. I made it like a mistake, all that stuff. I don't like that argument. Could it be feasible in certain situations? Very little to me. So, fans, I'm talking to you, the people, the generations out there. You walk blindly. You can't be mad of what happens next. You followed it. There's accountability on them.
I think the fan does more because they decide to do it. It's not like the influencer or celebrity or famous person is deciding it for them. They're deciding it for themselves. Everybody has that right. Nobody can take that away from them. They can decide whatever they want. Granted, there's some forced decisions in certain situations, but at the end of the day, you still get to decide. And like me, through my personal beliefs, the only true example is God, Jesus Christ, right? Everything else, there's some fault to it. You can't follow a random person, like a celebrity or something, and expect them to be perfect. Especially when you talk about the music industry, a lot of the times their public figure is not who they are. It's just an agenda that some companies or even other politicians or even other celebrities are pushing through that person, through their social media, through their public engagements. It's like a big marketing tactic that makes you feel like, hey, I like this, so I should like this too, because I like the person that it's coming from. It's a weird kind of psychological trick that most people fall for. And it's very easy to fall into if you're not thinking about it. But it's not a bad thing to have an example of someone here like on earth, as long as you know that they're not perfect. The example of this person doing charity work is good, but that doesn't mean that they do everything good. When Manny was talking about the inherent good that we feel, all that is written in our heart. That's from God, that we know good and bad. That's inherent human nature from God, personality from him. But most people like to turn that off because they don't want to think about that stuff. They want to just be led along on the hamster wheel and not have to think about the decisions that they make and not have to have the responsibility and the accountability of the things that they do, so they let somebody else do it for them. Convenience has gone so far to the point of our thoughts and our actions. That's what it feels like through this influence of celebrities. And I feel like, no. And I know that companies, people in power, people that are manipulating this from behind the scenes are using this to push and manipulate the masses however they see fit. That's why it's very important to be aware of what you're doing and who you're choosing and what you're standing behind and make your own decisions.
Because at a certain point, and this is like a good way to visualize stuff, because imagine the world as an ocean, right? Every person in it's just a drop of water. No matter how powerful you are, you're standing in life, celebrity, politician, whatever, you're just a drop. And every person can cause their ripple. People within higher standing or positions of power or influence, they're just one drop of water, but the nature of it in society, they have just a vast rippling effect compared to just us, the masses. That being said, people get lost in that wave and just simply succumb to it or accept it. And aside from looking at the concept of responsibility and accountability of yourself, do know to respect yourself enough to have your own opinion. Respect yourself enough to open your own eyes. You are you yourself, an individual, and for better or for worse, however society turned out the way that it did, or there's just a few that, looked at the ocean and decided to steer the river. There are good people, though, that do stand out when they do speak about certain topics. Granted, there are certain celebrities or influencers or whatever that a pet peeve of mine is just like, and even interviewers and paparazzi where it's like, oh, what's your opinion about this topic? And I love the people that are just like, what does that involve me? But then there are the people that are just blatantly will say their opinion, which is also counterintuitive to them because sometimes if the masses don't agree, that's how they get canceled, to be honest. But then there are those people that just start
mob mentality, brother.
Voicing their opinion and they get a little too passionate about it. And then, not necessarily Kanye, but like using him as an example where he's pushing his agenda and then
very opinionated person.
Life gives a lot of friction.
Look, I wanted to obviously send out a message because we talked about bad and I want to focus on some good. As of recently, and this is recent at the time of recording, Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl. Influencing the culmination and the togetherness of the Hispanic Latino culture, as well with the United States, Canada, and everywhere else. That's an influence that I can get behind, right? Bringing people together, regardless of, ethnicity or anything of that nature. I can get behind that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to follow whatever Bad Bunny says. Just because we agree
Definitely
on
not.
one thing does not mean, and this goes to everybody, does not mean I have to follow you. Does not mean we agree on everything. Just because he has this whole message, which I love, not trying to downplay it. I love what he did for the Hispanic community. But that doesn't mean I'm going to walk around blindly following Bad Bunny's whole lifestyle. Great messages are to be analyzed and interpreted, and you should use those to make a new message or follow up on that message. We're talking about everything political that's happening around in the world today. And togetherness is something that we're struggling with as a society. Everybody has their opposite ends of the coin. And it's okay for you to not follow these people because everybody else does. There are messages out there that are grand, that are great, and that I love that we as a community hold up to a higher standard.
You talk about an artist recently at the time of recording. J. Cole came out with a new album, right? I love J. Cole. J. Cole's great. Do I subscribe to everything he says? Of course not. But there's a specific perspective that he has from when he started becoming a rapper to now, where he's about to be 40 something at this point. And that really aligns with what we're talking about today, is that he went from idolization to realizing that after he made those people his goal, moving up there, he realized that they're not the people that he thought they were. Right? Because the deeper you look, the more cracks you see. the more the imperfections you see. And his perspective, especially through his music in general, gives you a solid understanding of the height and crash of idolization and where that can leave you in terms of questioning who you should even align yourself with or who you can even trust. When you idolize somebody, you fully trust them at that point. Like, hey, this is the person I want to be. This is my example. But when you start seeing the cracks and start seeing like, hey, these people might be worse than I was or worse than I am, or I don't want to be this person that I see that they are, it destroys your whole foundation as a person. And that's really the crux of what we're talking about here, is that when you place your foundation, your faith into a person that will ultimately let you down, that's all that's waiting for you. You're going to fall apart and collapse because they're just not going to hold up to that standard. It's not possible. They're just a human being. Make your own decisions. Look into things. Make sure you understand what's going on.
Do
with the
your
things around you.
research.
Do your research, bro. I cannot stress that enough. Do your research. Don't just look at a random TikTok clip video and be like, yes, that's what it is, and look no deeper. There's one thing I dislike about a lot of people do nowadays is spread misinformation because they're too lazy to look stuff up. It's insane. Like, bro, all you got to do is just type a few words and you'll probably get everything cleared up in like 2 seconds. We live in the age of the internet. You'll be fine.
Take a moment and just put the effort.
Like, stop doom scrolling for 3 hours and take 10 minutes to research something. I promise you'll bear fruit. Let us know how you feel about the influence of celebrities. Is it mostly good? Is it mostly bad? Is there some topics that we didn't hit on that you want to hit on? Let us know in the comments. How do you feel about this situation? How do you feel about this age where we're at with idolization? Do you even think it's idolization? We're ready to talk about it because it all starts with conversation. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm Frank.
I'm Eddie.
I'm just Joseph.
Peace.
Bloop, 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 bloop.